Hi, investigators. Mike Evans from the Australian Security Academy with this week's episode 291 of Spy Curious, the weekly news program for Australian investigators. In response to Brad Lyons' request for a better looking person in this program who presents a lot better, here's my experience today walking around country boy Mike Evans at downtown Geelong in my cowboy boots outside the Australian Wool Museum. Doesn't get much better than this. I'm going to go inside and check out if they got any AAA comb merino. I'll let you know. I'm so excited to be here in Geelong. How cool is that? Geelong, the home of country in Victoria, with the Merino Wool Museum, which I found on my way today, this morning too. Hi everyone, Mike Evans from the Australian Security Academy outside the amazingly beautiful offices of the Transport Accident Commission here in Geelong, Victoria. It's great to be back here at the Transport Accident Commission. I'm going in to say hello to a few friends. I'll talk to you soon. And that was the headquarters of the TAC in Victoria at the Transport Accident Commission, where I was entertained to a lovely cup of coffee this morning with some past and current clients. So people, I'm down in Victoria conducting recognition of prior learning interviews for the upcoming requirement to have the business management qualification for licensed private investigators coming in May 2025. As you can see, I haven't got my green screen with me this week, so to make Casey jealous, I've got a golf course there where people are putting and practicing their driving behind me, just so Casey sees that she's at work and everybody else behind me is having fun. So I've rubbed that in. Now, it was really interesting being at the TAC this morning. If you heard Brad Lyons today talking about what happens when he gets a re-instruction on an investigation on a person that he's done before, it's a really strange thing because you've already done it. You've already got that information and it's a real coincidence. And basically, you've loaded that into your system. On my way to the TAC today, I saw parked outside a vehicle from a business that I did an investigation regarding an accident they had. There's nothing wrong. They haven't done anything wrong. It was just a TAC accident 25 years ago. Here's my experience in downtown Geelong this morning. Had a great investigation with this organisation 25 years ago, but not in Geelong. Great to see Harry the Hirer in beautiful Geelong, October 2024. As Brad Lyons pointed out today in Investigations Uni, they do come back to you, and that was just a complete coincidence walking past because that was one of the largest investigations I'd ever done, and I had to interview a witness 4 times over something they saw that happened in 1.5 seconds. So when Pat and I and Casey tell you that we want detail in statements from what you saw, even if it was for a very brief time, trust me, the clients who pay us, they are very serious about it. You must be exhausted, Casey. How are you?
I'm well. No, I'm quite energized after such a fun interview with Brad. So it's always so good to interact with other investigators who are as passionate as we are. So.
Okay, so tell us all about, Casey, who did you interview? What was it all about? It was over on Investigations Uni, the support program that we run every Friday for our Australian Security Academy students. So you actually interviewed a person that's heavily involved in the industry. There's a screenshot of you there in action. What was it all about, please, Casey?
Yeah, so Brad is a private investigator, but also a data scientist. So he's taken his love for the industry and his expertise and has created some tools in regards to helping people with skip tracing and desktop investigations. So traces.au is Brad's new baby. So he's put together a bunch of tools to make finding people online easier. So as you can see, you've got your NZ insolvency check, you have different open source intelligence links, and there was just a whole bunch of fantastic tools there. And Brad, hi Steve, Brad has given us an incredible offer for Australian Security Academy, and I will just put the banner up. So if you email me, there's my email down below. Just say hi, and he's offering a whole free month trial for us to be able to have a play around and see if the tools for us. And yeah, just a fantastic thing that he's put together, and a really valuable and really accessible. He wants to make tools that are accessible to your individual operators. So it's just one of those things that if you are, which a lot of us are, individual operators, we don't work for the big companies. There are a lot of people that work for the big companies, but there's a lot of individual operators as well. And when things are really expensive, they're out of our reach. And we're paying hundreds of dollars for multiple licenses that we just don't need. So it's just not worth the money. And Brad's developed traces to help individual operators. And he's also partnered with Polonius. If you've ever worked for one of the big agencies, you know that that is the software, the go-to software that we all use for our case management. So he's partnered with them to create a really nice and streamlined version of it for individual operators as well, and to make it more accessible. So it's a lot cheaper, and it's only 2 licenses. So you and whoever your admin person is, he noted that it's usually a partner that helps with the admin side, which is generally true. So you can have a month free trial there as well to have a play around with that. Case management systems just make life so much easier. And when you are an individual operator, to be able to get access to something like this and that's not prohibitively expensive is just really great. So it was a really, really good interview, and I really enjoyed it.
Okay, so Brad reckons that you should get someone who presents better. So now we'll compare Brad, who, now keep in mind, people, is a trained radio broadcaster. All right, so let's just see what faults we can pick up with Brad's speaking voice in the snippets from that program.
From it. So when you give it to your clients, it doesn't have any mention of our name.
If we can play
your report.
It was
from it. So when you give it to your clients, it doesn't have any mention of our name. It's your report. And secure notes. This is one I built just for me, but it turns out a lot of people are actually using it. So when I do online investigations, I'm working off of 4 screens.
So that's Brad there with me slamming doors just to interrupt his radio voice and put everybody off. Let's have a look at Brad's offer.
And Brad has an amazing offer for us that you can get a whole month free trial to play around with it. And I'll just put I've got a little ticker here. If you email me, I can sign you up for your free trial, and you can have a play and see whether the tool is going to benefit you or not. And it'll save you so much time having to not remember the Google Docs and things that I'm always harping on about. So it's all there. You can just type it into the different areas.
So contact Casey in relation to it. The great thing about the partnership that we're talking about here between Brad and Polonius, so you're talking about 2 of the industry's most decent people, the owner of Polonius and the owner of Traces. They're great guys. They really are. They've been around forever, and they're all about improving the systems in the industry which we work in. As I told you 3 weeks ago, we're not very good at celebrating what our good side. You see the people bitching and moaning in the Facebook pages. Someone gets $1 extra an hour than me, or there's not enough surveillance work in Ulladulla. But you don't see that background working stuff that's continuously improving the work, the efficiency, and the good that we do within the industry. And it's really great to see Brad coming on the program and promoting that. And we've promoted Polonius here before. We've demonstrated the case management system and their interview system in Investigations Uni. They really are a great team. I was so pleased to see it and see Casey putting that together, and thank thank Brad very much for coming on. And let's just have a look at his own view of his improvement to the industry.
Itself. So what can be done to improve the industry for new people coming in?
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of people that are thinking about becoming a private investigator or just starting the course or in the course at some point, or even if they've finished it, a lot of them at some point end up calling me, either through Think Here2U or my connections with the Detective Desk or other systems that are out there that I'm involved with, just to chat about the industry. And they all say the same thing. When they've done their training, they feel they need something to help them. And that's just the way it is. You finish a course and it's all good and well, but you've left that community, except for with you guys, because you have a fantastic community after course.
And that's what it's all about. It's not just use once, forget, and leave it behind. And both Polonius and Brad, they're contributors to the industry. And look, I really celebrate that. And it's just great to have them there, even though he's got a radio voice, which we can forgive him for on this one occasion. Okay, all right. So I'm down in Geelong. I'm having a great time down here in Geelong, people. Making videos all around Geelong Street saying howdy to everybody as I walk around. And went past Cardinia Park today, and I played a couple of games of footy at Cardinia Park in various competitions when I was in the Colts. Here it is. Have a look at this. Hi everyone, Mike Evans from the Australian Security Academy outside the amazingly beautiful offices of the Transport Accident. That's a TAC pretending they're Cardinia Park. I'm Mike Evans down in beautiful country Geelong, pretending I'm a cowboy, saying howdy to all the locals outside Cardinia Park, which has changed dramatically when I used to play Colts at this ground, because back in the day when it was only cold showers, it looked like this. Today they have preset temperatures, so the precious footballers can not get scalded or too cold when they go to the shower. And they have chauffeurs to drive them to football practice. The world's gone soft. That's all from Geelong. See you next week. So sad to see. This is what Cardinia Park looked like when I played on it back in the day. That's exactly what it looked like today. It's very different. And I'd hate to get up and change the light bulbs in some of those towers. Hey, Beta, how are you going? B. I went past the NDIA office. If you'd told me, I would have said hello. Yeah, you can go outside just from your office and pat those cows at Cardinia Park B. I know that. Anything, yeah. Now I lost track. I've completely lost it. And it's all the cat's fault. And B's obviously a cat supporter because that's where she lives. People, there are jobs everywhere this week. So it's really important. You live in Queensland and you're a licensed private investigator, an Australian Academy graduate student. You have no experience. You have no job. I've got one of the 4 big national Australian investigation agencies wants to employ you. All you got to do is send me your resume, please. If you're a graduate Australian Security Academy student who is licensed in Queensland, in Brisbane, and you want work, full-time work, as a licensed private investigator, getting full training from one of the biggest industry professionals that you can get it from, I have got that work. We need 2 in Queensland. You're going to be doing CTP liability investigations, and you're going to be learning off the best in the industry, Australian Security Academy graduate students that they are as well. So that job is available today in Queensland. Just send me, email me your resume. I will pass it on. You'll be speaking to the person in charge, and she is one of the most wonderful people in the Australian investigation industry, and she will get you into it and ensure that you thrive at it. And it's one of the top 4 organisations, and it's the least known of the top 4. Every time I mention their name, people look back at me blankly and they don't know that they've only got 130 investigators working for them around the country. And you will not go wrong working for that organisation. So Other things that are job vacancies around the place, Lee Kelly and Associates, who I used to work for 26 years ago, looking for factual investigators in Sydney. In government jobs, there's a principal investigator position going for 129 grand for the Department of Fisheries. They're always the most popular jobs when I put them on Facebook. Cirrus Consulting are looking for vetting analysts around Australia. Security vetting people, get on and apply for that job. The Department of Education in Victoria is offering $132,700 for a senior investigations advisor down here in beautiful Victoria. So apply for that job. That one, you're going to need a diploma of government investigation to be successful in that job. You don't know where Victoria is? It's right behind me. Just did that one. ProCare are looking for surveillance investigators in the ACT, South Australia and the Northern Territory. And the AMP want a stirrer investigator working for them in Sydney. Where do you see that? You can see all these jobs on the Australian Security Academy Facebook page. It's where I can put those jobs in each week. So you just type that into Facebook. You have to ask to join. Certainly those jobs are there. Clarity are looking for investigators. Pinkertons are looking for investigators. Now, I spoke to a graduate of the Australian Security Academy this morning who was taken on by Pinkertons earlier this year. She is so happy. No experience as an investigator whatsoever. Pinkertons have taken her on, grown her into the industry, and she said, Mike, I'm never ever going to work for anyone else. That's what she said to me. And she's meeting me next time I'm coming down in late November, early December about her license to be a investigation business in Victoria. So she's very happy with Pinkertons, and the Seeker Group are also seeking factual investigators down in Victoria. Coming to Casey in 1 second, she's got something that happens quite regularly that's going to come up. Now, you're going to see jobs around the place. Where are they? Had them here. ATO are offering jobs up to $173,000 at the tax office for criminal investigation officers, managers and directors, which is great. I mean, you know, you probably have to work 30 weeks of the year. Up in Queensland, Lachlan Waugh has been granted a relaxation of his $927,000, that's almost $1 million, relief and time to pay off his tax debt, where other small businesses around Australia are being shut down by the RTO for 15 grand, 7 grand and 5 grand. This guy, Lachlan Waugh, is getting a sweetheart deal. And on the Gold Coast, a couple of restaurants got it as well, and the casino in Brisbane got it as well, while they're shutting down hardworking people all around Australia for 14 grand, 15 grand at the ATO. Now, I reckon this is crap. They're actually out there. They just prosecuted this lady for COVID-19 fraud, and they're bragging about how great they are. Whereas Lachlan, who's got an influencer girlfriend, because he's got an influencer girlfriend, gets $973,000 tax relief because, hey, they're so well known and they're celebrities, you can do that. It's absolutely disgusting. I think it's just as bad as NDIS fraud that happens. Poor people that have struggled for 40 years and paid their tax, got into difficulty because of COVID, and since it, for 15 grand, the ATO will wind them up, but not Lachlan Waugh. He gets a special deal. Mm. So I think that's absolute crap, and therefore I really don't like the idea of that job and going into that department and doing that, because I think that's bloody contradictory. Yeah, exactly. So that's Mike's pitch for this week. We're coming back to Casey, who's going to brighten everybody right up. Aren't you, Casey?
Well, it's actually along the same kind of lines. The power of celebrity should never be overlooked. Oh gosh, where?
Did I? Oh, hang on. I'll go back to where I was. Sorry. Yeah.
That's
My
okay.
apologies. We'll be back there. Is it there somewhere?
Yes. So this week, well, probably 2 minutes before I interviewed Brad, I got an email from Mike bringing this to my attention. So, I'm just get rid of my banner. There we go. So, wife tracking. Kanye West hired private eye to tail wife Bianca Censori without her knowledge on visit to Australia, lawsuit claims. So this is actually really common. I can't say who I've worked on, unfortunately, but you get jobs from the rich and famous to be employed to help them with the games of the rich and famous, I guess. Sorry, my dog's going to start barking now. And these are things that individual operators shouldn't have to worry about, and they generally don't have to worry about. It's usually the big agencies that are fielding this out, and usually it's quite a few investigators that end up on this case. It's something that you really need to keep in mind because coercive control still relates to the rich and famous. Just because you're rich and just because you're famous doesn't mean you're not a complete lunatic. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people will agree when it comes to Kanye West. So in the news article, it says papers allege a particularly notable task Ye was to have Doe, which is the head of his intelligence, hire private investigators to follow and tail his wife Bianca Censori when she was traveling alone to visit family in Australia without Miss Censori's knowledge. So that would have gone to one of the big investigation agencies, and a bunch of their probably usual team and also extra agents would have been put onto that. And with the big investigation agencies, they're going to do their due diligence. They're going to have the forms that the people fill out and say, no, this isn't coercive control. He's probably worried about her safety and things like that, because we know, I mean, this is literally celebrity stuff, is that when Kim Kardashian went to Paris and she was held, kidnapped and robbed in Paris for all of her jewelry. So they could take that kind of angle, and they do their due diligence. They get their legal documents signed. They cross their I's and they dot their T's. And it's just one of those things that, I don't know, I don't feel like it generally helps the industry, given the headlines that are coming out about the possibility of coercive control and things like that with Bianca and with Kanye. But you have to look at it objectively. It is a job, and it's coming from a person that they're dealing with that signs the documents that says A, B, and C. And you can't look at the tabloids and just go, oh, People magazine said that he might be engaged in coercive control, and you just can't do that. So hats off to big investigations agencies who have to have that balance and have those controls in place. So I'm just going to read what B said. Do not think for a second they're rich and famous. Yes. There's these are things that you don't like. These things might come across your desk as an individual operator, but you won't have to have the paperwork in place because it'll go to a big investigation agency with a really solid legal team, and that's why they pick them. So but it's just
if you want to be in a good headline, you always have in it in your celebrity lawsuit that you were under surveillance by private investigators. The courts really, they hear it all the time. They're over it. A lot of private investigators get embarrassed about it, giving the industry a bad name. It happened with Johnny Depp and his girlfriend when they were on the Gold Coast and a few years back, which had nothing to do with Casey. But, it's a constant. And the courts get robbed, and you just see the magistrates practically going to sleep when she has to listen to this, what the magistrates always say is this has been an endless parade of prostitutes, private investigators, and politicians, or something like that. Is, you know, just to get the sensational headlines that they have over Johnny Depp's girlfriend's dogs getting in through customs when no one else can, and they've got to go into quarantine 6 weeks and whatever. So it's all part of that smear. Trying to win over a magistrate in a legal dispute. And we're talking here legal disputes worth millions, billions at that celebrity level. You will get very bored with it very quickly as you read about more of them because they're high-profile people. It comes with the territory. That's just what happens. If they didn't have the paparazzi and that sort of attention, they'd be disappointed and complaining about that. So it's just part of the sensational side of it. You know, like they're trying to have, you know, bent police and stuff like that as well, and all this sort of thing. But I wouldn't give it too much weight.
No.
And it sounds very sinister. But honestly, if you go and do it, and you're actually doing that surveillance on anyone,
yeah,
it isn't exciting. It's boring. It's not as surreptitious as they make out, and it's not as sensational. No, you can't actually get into those toilets and do that as much as everybody probably like you to. But it's a headline that's trying to get curry favour from a magistrate who's heard it all before.
Yeah. And it's just so Hollywood, isn't it? It's celebrity and dragging the word private investigator because you think of Hollywood and private investigators and celebrity scandals, and it's very attention grabbing. And it's the head of intelligence that is Kanye's personal head of intelligence that is suing him, and that is the grab. I'll pull it back up. The headline.
All the rest,
private investigators. So it's a whole other story and a whole other thing that it's just one of the
boring,
things.
The exciting 20-second grab is the part that involves the licensed private investigator who followed someone. That's the exciting bit. So, all right, okay, a little bit of fun, but please don't take it too seriously. And as always, today's news wraps tomorrow's fish and chips, and it all just passes and it's gone. It doesn't really damage us as an industry. We're about celebrating the good in the industry. Like I pointed out last week, the Apple industry do it very well. We've just got to get better here. And I'm glad you raised it, Chantel. It was really nice of you to let us know about that. People, that's our program for today. Casey, thank you very much for taking Investigations Uni while I was doing interviews down in beautiful Geelong.
I would like to know what golf course you're on. Probably don't.
That is the Sands golf course, and you are looking at the practice putting green and the driving lane and about 17,000 rabbits.
Wow, looks beautiful.
I should have bought my landing net. We could have brought home some rabbits. So I've never seen so many rabbits. It's soft, sandy soil. It's rabbit heaven. People, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week.
Have a great weekend, guys.